Hey guys, SMG here, and today I would like to do a noob tutorial for the Age of Mythology Retold editor. So to get us started off, to get to the editor, you're going to go up to these three lines up in the upper right corner. Go to editor. And we're going to get this beautiful blank map to work with. Now, if you don't want to use the blank map to begin with, you're going to go to File, you're going to hit New, and you're going to be able to choose from the scrimmage maps, which is actually really convenient. I'm going to go with, if I can find it. You know what? Let's just go with islands. And now, if you want to quickly get through the menu, let's say I want to find islands. It's right here. Let me scroll down. If I want to find islands, I just hit I real quick, and it'll take me to the eyes. Your seed number. This one, like if you like a seed that you had found in previous matches, I'm not sure how you would find that seed information, but you can always copy paste it here if you find a seed online that you want to use. Number of players, it goes up to 12. I'm just gonna stick to 2 for now. You can choose the size of your map: normal, large, and giant. Let's go with normal. And so what this is going to do is it's just going to generate a normal scrimmage map for you, depending on your seed in the map that you chose. See, this is player 1 here, and this is player 2. Pretty simple, pretty simple. And from here, you could mess with the map to your liking. Next thing I'm going to show you is, I'm sure you guys know how to load a scenario and how to save it, save as. That's pretty self-explanatory. But there is one tip I wanted to give. So if you save or save as a scenario, never, ever, ever use symbols. And I'll tell you why right now, because my first time using the editor, I thought it'd be a good idea to save my map as cat and mouse. But unfortunately, this seemed to make the game crash. And every time I'd go back into the editor, it would immediately crash. So never use symbols. I'm just giving the warning right now. And this wasn't an easy issue to fix either. You have to disable your cloud saving for Steam if you are playing on Steam, that is, as well as delete files. And it seems pretty straightforward to delete files, but when your Steam cloud is saved automatically, you have no way to get into those saves for your Steam cloud. It becomes pretty annoying. Just a heads up there. Game settings, you can access them through the file menu right here. Pretty self-explanatory. You guys know how to mess with your settings. Return to main menu, exit the windows. Down here is just your recent maps that you have played on. So if I wanted to boot up a map that I have been working on recently, I can just click here. No, I don't want to save. No reason to. Alright, and then it loads up one of your previous maps. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to show you guys is how to playtest your map. So let's get started by just placing a town center down for each team. I'll go over the object placement in more detail later. Alright, so there's actually 2 ways to playtest this scenario. One is under scenario, playtest scenario, and you can do it that way. Choosing the AI difficulty here. Or if you just wanted to be quick about it, you're able to choose your team here, and you just hit this little arrow on the right to playtest.
Πρόσεχε. Πρόσταγμα.
The other teams by default will have their AI activated, which is pretty convenient compared to the prior Age of Mythologies. Get out of here. Obviously, there's not much around the map for them to do, or else the villagers would already be working. Alright, to exit the editor, all you're going to want to do is hit quit. Are you sure you want to quit? Of course. Alright, so next I'm going to cover scenario, player data. You're able to change the color of your civilization. So let's say I wanted to be gray. I could do that. You can change your major god. Obviously I'm going to change it to Gaia because she's goated. You can change your name. It normally starts off with like player 1, but I'm going to be SMG. You can change your starting food. So I can change my starting food to 2000, starting wood to 2000, anything you guys want, but I'm just doing it for the sake of the tutorial. Starting gold 5000, starting favor 100, starting population, and this will be the population you start off with. So like the town center itself automatically gives you a population to start off with, but if you wanted to add on top of that, you could. So let's say I wanted to add another 25 on top of whatever I already had. And you can change your population limit as well, so this will be the maximum limit you can achieve through population. You can change it down to whatever you like. I don't have any recommendations for it. Basically just up to you guys what you want that as. Another thing you can do is handicap. This will operate the same way as like the scrimmage handicap works. I'm not going to mess with that right now. Age settings. You can choose a starting age. So let's say I wanted to start a mythic age. I could do that. And as you can see, my town center changed. I can choose my minor gods that I want with Gaia. As well as I can choose my maximum age. So let's say I started off on default, which is just the bare minimum. You can make it so heroic age is your maximum age. You can no longer proceed past heroic. Let's actually change that back to default. Let's change this to mythical. I don't want, there's no specific minor gods that I want. Now for visibility, this is not to have to do with what you can see on the map. This will be having to do with the scoreboard. So if you want to appear on the scoreboard, you'd hit normal. And if you want to remain hidden on the scoreboard, you hit hidden. So what this is going to do, I'll do a plate test for you guys now. See on the upper right, you no longer have a scoreboard up here. And with being mythical age 2, I have all my god powers that I can use. Alright, let's just quit out of that. Alright, so another thing I wanted to cover is scenario player data. You can change the number of players you want on the map. So let's say I wanted 4. I go to 4, hit apply, and it'd give me 4 players to choose from instead of just 2. As well as on the right here, on the far right, where you see control, this will set the control, whether it's a human player or computer. Now, if you set it to unavailable, I've had it happen before where it just crashes my game immediately, so I recommend, unless you really know what you're doing, set it either to human or computer. Setting it to computer will give it an AI by default. Setting it to human will make it so if you play a custom scenario online, you can have your friends join and you can play against them. I'm actually going to change it back to only two players. You can change Mother Nature's civilization, so this will be the unplayable characters. Think of like when you see like deer roaming around the map or whatever. You can change the civilization of that. So if you wanted like a building to match some sort of yeah, I'll just show you. So I'll change it to Gaia, and what that will do is when I go to buildings and change it to nature, it will use Gaia's tech. So, oops, that's a bad example. So if we set down town center, if I can find it, it'll be Gaia instead of like Set or Zeus or whatever. Or I can go back in. And let's back up. And I can change it to Set, and it'll change Gaia's civilization. And I'm actually going to keep that on default, which default I guess is Zeus. Alright, so next is victory conditions. This will set the conditions in which you win the game with. Conquest is on by default. Achieve victory by defeating all enemies. Wonder victory. We got settlement victory. This one is not on by default. I checked it on now. Achieve victory by constructing all and holding all settlements on the map until the timer expires. King of the Hill. We have Regicide, which I am not really sure what Regicide's about. And then we have Sudden Death, which is kind of like Settlement Victory, except for that person that loses the settlement and no longer has a settlement, will have a countdown start, and they will lose the game if they don't build a town center in time. I'm going to keep Conquest on and Settlement Victory on for now. There are objectives and chapters. These are more along the lines of text prompts that will pop up for like campaign missions and whatnot. You really don't need to mess with them at all, unless you wanted to get more in depth with like the triggers and whatnot. But for now, I'm just going to skip them. Alright, so next is going to be Forbidden Units. Let me just remove those. I was messing with it earlier. Alright, so for Forbidden Units, these are units or buildings that you don't want to be used during a game. So let's say I don't want player 1 to build more town centers. I could add that. If I don't want player 1 to build like sentry towers, I could also add that, and what that's going to do is disable them from building those two buildings. Or I can make it so player 1 can no longer build more villagers. And you want to choose the specific villager for their civilization as well. So I'm going to go with the Villager Atlantean since I'm playing as Gaia. And you guys will see this won't actually prevent you from the base spawn villagers. So to enable to do that, you have to go into triggers and to make it so town centers won't automatically spawn the starting villagers. But I can no longer train more villagers. And I can no longer make a sentry tower as well as a town center. Just because I can. Now, you could go back into Forbidden Units. You can change the team as well. So if you want a player 2 to have the same disadvantage, you search up Sentry Tower. Add that over. And Town Center. Add that over. And as well as the villagers they're going to be using as well. Which Team 2 is Haiti, so it's going to be Greek villagers. And they would no longer be able to build any of those or train Greek villagers. Now, when it comes to tech, there's different techs that each civilization can research. I can't recall them off the top of my head, but let's say you wanted to disallow like an armor upgrade or any sort of upgrade you can think of, they would all be in here. It's a huge list of them. And then you would just add it over here, and it would prevent them from using that upgrade, or that tech, rather. And then when you're done, make sure to hit OK or else it's not going to save. Alright, so the next thing we're going to look at is diplomacy. To get a better idea of it though, I'm going to change the number of players on the map to 4. Hit apply. Let's go down to diplomacy. And so what this does is basically it tells the game what player's on what team. So if I want player 2 to be allied with player 1, I would make it green for allied. Now, this would make it so player 1 could still attack player 2, but player 2 can no longer attack player 1. So if I wanted them both to be teams with each other, I'd change them both to green. That's a bit of a puzzle in itself, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. Now, same with player 3. If I wanted player 3 to be allied with player 4, I go down here, change that to green. If I wanted player 4 to be allied with player 3, I change that to green. So now 1 and 2 are allies, and 4 and 3 are allies. I'll go ahead and set down some town centers so you guys can see what that looks like. As well as going to player data, and I'm going to change these guys over to computers so they actually put up a fight and they don't just sit around doing nothing. And I'm going to go ahead and test it out. And as you can see, player 2 is now, they're now revealed on the map. As well as player 3 and 4 coming out to attack us right away, because they can. Get out of here. Go ahead and quit out of that. And I believe that's all I really needed to cover for scenario. I mean, we do have the scenario summary as well, but this just gives you the basic breakdown of your map, as well as the miscellaneous info, like how much food's available on the map, how much wood, how much gold. So if I were to put down, let's say, a gold mine, I believe it will tell me how much gold total is available on the map. Let's put down some goats. Oh, wrong team. Go ahead, delete that. Want that nature. Go ahead, put down some goats. And let's put down some wood as well. So now we go to scenario summary and miscellaneous info, and it'll tell us exactly how much gold we have on the map, which they call it coin for some reason. Not exactly sure why. How much wood, how much food, and how many Gaia objects, which are the nature objects. So, like, the trees will count as Gaia objects, the goats will count as Gaia objects, as well as the gold mines counting as Gaia objects. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how to change the map size. You're going to go into World, Map Size, and whatever you type in here will add to it. So I'm going to type in 100 for each side. I'm going to hit Add. And basically, essentially what that does is it doubles the size of my map. Now, I could take it all back by hitting Take, and then it'll subtract 100 from each side, or if I wanted to, I could even just add 100 to the top and bottom to make it narrow. There we go. Or if I could, if I also wanted to, I could input 50 on the left and right side and hit Take, make it even more narrow at that point. But as you can see, it does get rid of some of the stuff on your map. So I do recommend, if you're going to do this, to have your map size set before you start working on your world, or your scenario rather. Alright, so last but not least, we have lighting. They do have preset lighting that you can choose from. I'm gonna go with base snow. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna go with one that sticks out a little bit more. That's pretty cool. And it looks like old-time-ish. And then if you ever don't like the lighting that you have in your world or you messed up, you can always go back to lighting, restore to default, and again, choose a different lighting you want. Maybe it's dusk. That's pretty cool. Another thing you can do is you can go to edit lighting, and there's a bunch of sliders that you can mess around with. For instance, exposure. You can make it super bright if you wanted to. You can also change the rotation of the sun or the incline. As you can see here, it kind of shows you where the sun's going to be at, as well as the rotation. You can see it bouncing off the buildings right down here. Some nice little feature they added since the last game. Alright, so last piece of advice before I go is to save, and to save often. Now, when I say save often, I'd say every 15 minutes or so, only because the editor likes to crash a lot, and there's a lot of bugs that go on with placing objects and whatnot. So I recommend even have backup saves for that save. So for instance, I go to save as, I already have this tutorial saved as tutorial, but I could go ahead and save it as tutorial 2, just so I have that backup tutorial level there, just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and now every time I want to save, I can just quickly go and hit save, and it's not going to ask me for that prompt every time. But thank you guys for watching my video. I'll have more tutorial videos coming up in the near future. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.